What's happening, everyone? It's January 21st, 2019, and today we're going to talk about Organigram and the recent class action lawsuit that has been filed against them, and we're going to talk about whether or not there's any truth to it. So if you like what you see here, if you find any value in this video today, leave a comment, subscribe, like, and let me know what you think about this news. Personally, and I've told this to our members in POW group, this is not new information by any stretch of the imagination. It's resurfacing. This news is old news. It's roughly 3 years old. So for those of you that are Googling and just finding out this information for the first time, you might want to Google a little bit more, right? So just take everything that you hear with a grain of salt, because there's usually a little bit more to it than that. And this is one of those scenarios where this was actually a resurfaced article that was from 3 years ago. So we'll get into the article in depth in just a moment, but I just wanted to share a pretty cool story with everyone that I'm pretty good with computers. I work with computers for a living, and I work for a multi-billion-dollar company, and I manage their IT department. So one of the things I do in my spare time is I fix computers as a side job as well. So I'm going to fix a computer for this retired gentleman who I met through one of my friends. It was his father, actually. And he told me when I first met him, he's a super humble and down-to-earth gentleman. And after building some rapport and getting to know him a little bit, I found out he was actually the co-founder of Organigram. And it was pretty crazy to hear his side of the story on how it all developed and how he, became part of the Organigram story as well. So you never really know who you're going to meet. And interestingly enough, after I got home, I seen this article about Organigram, and I'm a shareholder, and people in our community are shareholders, and this gentleman who's now retired and the old co-founder who no longer works for the company is also a shareholder. So quite interesting how that all panned out. But this class action lawsuit against Organigram is resurfacing. It's making headlines again on the internet because of the Supreme Court basically giving the green light on this class action lawsuit. So in my opinion, it has already been priced in by the market. This is not new information, again, by any means. It's just simply recirculating, and it's trying to knock down the stock. But the fact of the matter is the stock already took a hit. The company actually, well, before we get into that, I just wanted to say that the class action lawsuit was an unapproved pesticide that nobody really cares about anymore because it's already happened. The market's already priced it in, and even though the Supreme Court has given the green light, it's not new information. So yes, it may have a short-term negative impact on the stock, but in my opinion, and this is not financial advice, this is strictly for educational purposes only, the pesticide was banned, so this could potentially affect the stock in the short term, but long term, we don't see that as being the case. So, it's a small world. Crazy how if you just open the opportunity of meeting people, and if you're open to just networking, it's crazy who can come into your circle of friends. So pretty cool story that I'll have to tell a few people as time goes on and as this industry develops. But it certainly negates the Organigram. It certainly negates the whole aspect of their business. It's an organigram, and they were using pesticides, or they were accused of using pesticides. And in a recent article, they actually came out saying that they were going to pursue this and defend this aggressively, because they obviously have nothing to hide, apparently. So we'll have to see how it all develops. And I will pull it up here now and show you exactly. So you've probably seen this already circulating in the media. Class action lawsuit against Moncton-based medical cannabis producer, which would be Organigram, given the green light by the Supreme Court. So the company is, you know, it's got scrutiny on its shoulders because this is not new information, but it's certainly going to hurt the stock in the short term just from the negative publicity, and B, there's more and more cases and testimonials being voiced of people that were negatively affected by this. So we'll just have to see how it all develops. But the lawsuit stems from 2 recalls in late 2016 and early 2017. So as you can see, this is not new information. We'll go back. I found another article here as well. So this was published on December 6, 2017. And again, it was about the pesticides that were myclobutanol and bifenazate. Hopefully I said that right. But these have been, they were unapproved and they've been banned, and we'll just have to see how everything pans out, because like I said, Organigram has vowed to fight this aggressively, and they actually lost back a few years ago. Under the previous CEO, they actually lost their organic certification, and after about a year and a half-ish under Greg Engel, they actually got it back. So it doesn't, it's going to, like I said, it's going to have a short-term impact, but long-term, if you're an investor, if you're worried about this news, I wouldn't sweat too much or lose too much sleep over it at this point. And we'll just go to the chart on Organigram. We've seen a huge move since the new year, you know, since the lows of that pullback from the October 17th bear market. We've seen a jump of 60%. So this has already been baked in. This is not new information, and the stock has already pumped 58% since its recent low. So if, again, just look at the broader picture and ask yourself if, you know, if you can stomach a 5% or even a 10% loss, because that is not completely out of the question at this point. And if we go back here in the chart, it was December 6th. It was in the late quarter of 2016. So the stock took a hit multiple times, right? So if we look at when that article surfaced, it was December 6th, 2017, which is right around this mark here, exactly right there. And we see that the stock took a tumble here of about 15%. So that news obviously affected the stock, and the fact that they lost their organic certification simply only added more fuel to the fire. But again, guys, we've hit all-time highs since then. Organigram looking super strong at the moment, holding still above the exponential moving averages. We'll just have to see how it all pans out and how the market reacts tomorrow. But yeah, it's get out there and meet a few people. You'll never know who might come your way. And just know that every time you see an article, I can't count how many times I've seen an article and thought that it was new information, and, you know, my friends or, you know, people in the chat and the community, in the POW group community, pointed out that, you know, this was not new information at all. So again, guys, take everything that you hear with a grain of salt, and we'll see you on the next episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great one. Cheers.